And what about Robert F. Kennedy Jr.?
I think he's just kind of like eye candied. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere.
But he doesn't have your support.
Not mine, no. I mean, the anti-vax thing is nice, but that's about all he has going for him.
I heard rumors that Trump might have for the vice president, but that'd be great if he would switch like that. That'd be awesome.
He switched from Democrat to independent. Do you see him make the leap to Trump?
I do.
Really?
I do.
He's one of them rhinos, I think. Behind it all, I mean, he looks one way, but he says something behind your back, and you can't trust him. There's no trust there, so no, I wouldn't even give him a second thought.
What do you think of RFK Jr.?
Has been absolutely correct, 100%. I'm 100% with him on exactly one issue, and that has been the virus.
There's certainly been discussion on the internet about what possible effect the RFK Jr. presidential run could have, but it's weird that so much of it has been focused on how it could affect Joe Biden. And I get initially, he's a Democrat, supposedly, so I get why they're doing that. But I think that there's a lot of really interesting questions to ask about how it could affect Donald Trump. And I love seeing from the point of view of Trump rally goers what they think about him. Now, again, they're Trump supporters, so you're not going to have a bunch of people that are like, yeah, I actually like him better than Trump. I don't expect that. But do they like where he stands on the issues? Do they think that ideologically he has much in line with Donald Trump? I think these are interesting questions. And interestingly, many of them, despite how a lot of them were willing to say that they, as you saw with the last guy, they agree with him on the virus, or many of them like his positions against vaccines, they don't think that he is going to draw support from Donald Trump. So they're saying, we agree with this guy on these issues. And so if they're representative of anything, you would assume that other Trump supporters will agree, but that he is not going to cut into Trump's support. And it is interesting, like they're pretty committed, but I do wonder, because there are these issues that he really does seem to draw more support from Republicans on. So wouldn't we expect that he's going to get some of that support? And the polls have been a little bit mixed. So he's drawing like 22% generically in polls when Trump and Biden are on the ballot against him. Where that support comes from, it really comes down to the individual poll. But there is certainly, in this video, reason to believe that he could draw some Trump support. Now, of course, what they cite most regularly is his position on vaccines. And what I find so interesting about that is, when there are criticisms against RFK Jr. as being anti-vax, there's very often a defensive response saying, that's not true. He's not anti-vax. He's never been anti-vax. He's never said anything against vaccines. He just wants more regulation, blah, blah, whatever. But when you ask the anti-vaxxers, they seem to think that he's anti-vax. So I would say, if that characterization is not true of RFK Jr., then he's going to really want to get out in front of this, because a lot of people who are devoted anti-vaccine activists, skeptics, whatever, they seem to have drawn apparently the wrong view of RFK Jr. on this particular issue. So much so that not only are they wrong on his position, according to RFK Jr. supporters, but that they think that's like his main draw, except for the guy who says that his main draw is that he's eye candy. And I don't think that he means that physically, although you can understand why people might interpret it that way, with RFK Jr. putting out videos of him exercising shirtless outdoors or something, but that he's like a shiny thing to draw attention. And I think that that is actually a pretty good comment coming from this Trump supporter. Is he just a shiny thing that is going to draw some focus? He's going to have some viral statements or whatever. He's going to register on some polls, and he's going to draw some initial attention from Trump supporters and maybe even from some Biden supporters, but not actually make a big impact? I don't know. I think that Trump supporter could be onto something, though, because at least, in my own experience, I don't see him drawing as many headlines as he was in an earlier phase of this thing. It's possible that when we move into the general election, maybe he'll pop back up on people's radar, but it is at least interesting at this point to see that Trump supporters are not worried about what impact he could have, even though polling indicates that it could be significant. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.